Dynamite Download.
Dynamite Download, your home for all positive coverage on all elite wrestling. Special event, as you can see, SPD about he was born badass.
To see the height and to see the commitment and to see the drive. We'll see yours truly without a signature shade. SPD once again. January recruitment month for that.
You know, I come along in the
Well, you don't actually. I didn't do that. I was thinking.
Dynamite, all three in the flesh.
Have to do an interview with those guys. You know why? Because they spread positivity about AEW.
Welcome to Dynamite Download.
That intro never gets old, man. I love that little QT pop. And I'll be honest with you, QT, tonight your boy Crayfish might be diverting a little bit off of the old positivity thing. We're gonna get started. We're gonna get started right away, SPD, because man, we have a lot to cover. We're on Sunday nights now. We're gonna get into the Dynamite. We're gonna get into Rampage. I think this is gonna be a really good flow for us, for you guys who have stuck with us along the whole journey. Appreciate you joining us here tonight. Whether you're live, whether you are checking in post show, getting the whole recap before you head into next week. For
That's right, man.
For
it's
you
great
AEW fans,
screen,
man. Goodness, thanks, man. Appreciate it. You know, this was a good week to get back into the flow of things. The Owen Hart tournament really kicked off. We here at Dynamite Download were pumped for that tournament.
Yes, we were.
And I'll be honest with you. You look at this card, this match graphic, and there's no wonder why social media, and Tony Khan's even said it a few times, you know, he's been proud of all the shows they put out, but man, there's a lot of people who say this is a top 5 show ever. And I'm going to do something and say on paper, this is a card that absolutely crushes it. You see all the talent that's on board there, but when they started this show out, with my guy Dax
with a boom.
I know, and here's the thing: it's going to be controversial, but I'm going to say it. You know, AEW, they had an opportunity to really make a star in Dax Harwood. Dax, you know, the story leading into this tournament, it really felt like this tournament hinged on Dax and Cash and FTR's love for the Hart family. So much of the build up to this tournament really focused in on it was built up mostly by FTR. I got to say, FTR they did a better job hyping this tournament than AEW in some regards. I'm going to be real with you from an emotional, from an impact, from an importance standpoint. You know, and for Dax and the Cash to go to war with each other just to get a spot. And then for Dax to lose at the first match of the entire tournament, he goes out. I'm sorry, man. Like, this was one of those things where I was so upset after it. I was like, wind out of the sails. I was bumming out pretty hard. And here's my thing. I know you already jumped up and you already did the baby. You know, let's be honest. Adam Cole is always going to be Adam Cole. He's always going to be popular, right? He's got a great theme song, a great entrance. He's got a chant that everybody loves. Adam Cole is going to be over no matter what. SPD. You know, everybody loves Adam. Everybody loves the Bebe chants, and you love his entrance, and it's a great entrance, right? And it gets a pop every single time he comes out.
Right.
But he didn't need this win. And I felt like, okay, yes, as a tag team guy, I get it. Dax and Cash are very valuable to the tag division.
Top guys.
But this felt like maybe he doesn't win the whole tournament, SPD. Maybe Dax doesn't win the whole tournament. But for him to lose on the very first match of the tournament, it just felt like a kick in the nuts, dude. Like I was so invested in him, you know, watching him go to war with his former partner, watching him hype this up as such an important thing for him as a big diehard Bret Hart fan, you know, and other than Darby, there hasn't really been, who also lost, by the way, other than Darby, who else in this tournament has hyped up the importance of this tournament to them? Who has gone out of their way to make a promo that was like, I want to win this tournament because of X, Y, or Z?
At home, not at taping. I mean, you look at
Darby has built up a story, but
yeah.
but who else? And that's my point.
Yeah.
And I know you're trying to talk me off the ledge, and you have ever since Dynamite. Let's be honest with you here, dude. Thank God Rampage was an awesome show, because I was bumming after Dynamite, and I'm scrolling Twitter, and everybody's saying what an amazing show it was, and yet Darby, choo baby, he stole the show, right? No shock there. Darby and Jeff Hardy had a killer ladder match, which made everybody feel good
right
after the show was over. But this show started out with an absolute kick to the nuts. This was not one where if you're a fan of the homegrown stars of AEW, this just, I get it. Adam Cole maybe is the bigger name, but this felt like a moment where Dax really could have broke through. And I'm sorry, I think that AEW really messed up here, dude. I really do.
No, it was no secret how we feel about FTR and Uncle Dax. He is a fantastic worker. FTR are a fantastic tag team. They are the best in the world for a reason. 6-star matches.
I love hearing you say that. So I love that.
There's no secret of that. That being said, before I go on my take and my rant, I agree with you. I completely agree with you, and I think we're not the only ones in the IWC with that. How would you have felt? Because I know I would have felt differently if this was the finals match.
Right.
Would it have accepted it more?
That's what I mean. Like, and again, I'm an FTR slappy, and I love that now that they're kind of baby faces. You love them so much now. I sound like the guy who's coming around to FTR. You are all in with FTR now, which is great. I love that. But even if I tried to remove my love for these guys and the story that they were trying to tell,
sure,
this would have been totally okay if it was, like you said, the next round of the tournament. If it was the finals, even SPD, I'm telling you, if it was anything other than the very first match of the tournament, you start off Dynamite and you start off the tournament with the ultimate at this point, the ultimate story of this tournament, the underdog, the guy who has staked a claim to this meaning something to him.
Yeah, he's wearing the pink and black too, even.
I don't know. Am I missing something here? I get it. I get that Adam Cole is the big name, and I get it. But as a guy who knows Adam Cole's career and has seen it, dude, Adam Cole's over. He doesn't need to go anywhere further in this tournament. And I felt like this is one of those where Dax could have had a believable run because it meant so much to him, right? Like, this is a guy who is a traditional tag team guy. And we've seen many breakouts from Dax earlier where we've said, wow, dude, he's got some singles chops to him. We've seen that in the past. This was a moment, this tournament felt like a moment where he could have really had a breakout to that next tier, that next level, and it would have been believable to most fans. And it actually would have been something that most fans would have been rooting for to see is, man, this guy cares about this. He really, he loves Bret Hart, and he's pushing himself to his limits to make it and to win this. And he's the underdog, as Dax always talks about. He's 5'10". No, he's just another 5'10" dude coming from North Carolina. He doesn't look like Wardlow, right? He's just an average looking guy. But the power of the stash and the love for the Bret Hart could have pushed him. And the power of
the chop too.
It could have pushed him. And seeing him break out the sharpshooter, I mean, he executed it to perfection. It could have been something there, dude. I felt like AEW rarely does this, right? And a lot of times they're ahead of the curve. Like with me, with Yuta, I had a hard time coming around to Yuta at the beginning, right?
Sure.
And
all of us.
Now you see, wow, AEW's invested in this kid for a reason. He's looks like he belongs with Bryan Danielson and Moxley, which is incredible to see, right? A lot of times AEW's ahead of the curve with pushing guys. They saw something in the Acclaimed back when we were like, these guys are nerdy guys who are just obsessed with the Young Bucks book cover, right? their first couple raps were so lame. And I remember you and I both were like, these guys, I don't know. I quickly came around, but
everybody loves them.
Tony Khan saw something in those guys before anybody else did.
Right.
And they're usually really good at that. And I feel like this was one of the bigger moments where they just they crap the bed. They crap the bed with a huge opportunity to make Dax into something next level, bro. And even if he loses the next round, think about it. If he goes on, and again, if it were me booking, I would have had Darby and Dax win, which maybe that makes me a sucker for the AEW, long time guys. I don't know. But I felt like those guys needed it more, and it would have been more connected more with the fans. But even if Jeff Hardy beats Darby in a hell of a ladder match, which incredible match, right?
My back is still hurting thinking about that.
No kidding. Even if Jeff Hardy goes on, then you see Jeff Hardy versus Dax one-on-one.
Great.
And you go to say, okay, the Hardy Boys versus FTR. You have the history there that gets built in. What is the story between Adam Cole and Jeff Hardy?
Well,
why are these guys fighting each other?
I mean, had Ray Phoenix and FTR or Dax in the finals, and you just bring that history back at it. Yes, it's tag teams. Those tag teams put on fantastic matches. Man, I know how you feel and how passionate you are about this, and I completely agree with you.
I'm starting a mini campaign on Twitter. I really am trying.
But, I want to talk about the match itself. I want to give a little sunlight to this.
All right.
In my perspective, yes, I was heartbroken. I was so invested because Dax can make any match so powerful and feel like a main event with his heartfelt, just passionate promos. The guy is a student of the biz. He is passionate about the biz. He lives and breathes and dies wrestling, and it shows. And not many wrestlers in today's age have that kind of passion, and it clearly shows every single time we hear from Dax and we see Dax. It was cool that we heard how big of a pop we were getting for Dax, and the let's go Harwood Adam Cole chants, and the crowd. Yes, there was some awesome moments throughout a Dynamite, but I still think one of the biggest pops of the night was when Dax threw on that sharpshooter on Adam Cole. And so the crowd is invested, people are invested in all that. And so we could still continue to, it's not too late to continue to push the Dax campaign, because there's never been that kind of swerve, which I think you threw out on your Twitter.
I'd love it.
If
I know
Dax
that
was the Joker and gets reinstated, then it meets Adam Cole in the finals and takes him out, that would be, I don't think anyone would complain about that.
Oh, God, I know.
It would be pretty wild if that happened. I don't see that happening, but it would be pretty wild if it would happen. That's fantasy booking.
It's just because I care. Just because I want to make the point. I really felt like that was the story of this tournament. Right. And maybe it was the obvious story. Right. But sometimes the obvious stories are worth being told.
And AEW is known for those feel-good moments.
He could have, again, maybe not win the tournament, which we all had him winning the tournament. Maybe we all got caught up in the emotion of it all, right? Dax did a great job selling that story. But I just feel like that's the type of story that, going back to when you and I have started this show from the very early on, we always talked about the breadcrumbs. That was a story where, man, I was eating those breadcrumbs all around town. You would have had me walking blocks, eating up breadcrumbs for blocks. That is a story we're just getting to see Dax chase that dream and pursue that, and what it could drive him to do. Imagine if he gets a W. Again, he's had some great matches, usually losses. You see him lose to CM Punk, right? You see him step up to the plate and have incredible singles matches. Losing to Adam Cole, it could have been huge if he beat Adam Cole. Especially, you think about this too, and I know that I'm not the only one. Shawn Michaels and Adam Cole, a lot of parallels there. And
of course.
The Bret Hart and Dax, the connection there. Could have been really cool if you played off that story and allowed Dax to kind of avenge the sins of the past. I don't know. I think that this was a missed opportunity and a breakout moment for Dax. It could have really been huge. But that said, but focusing on the positive, there is a lot of star power in this tournament, SPD. I mean,
Mhm.
Samoa Joe going against the Joker, we don't know. That's good. I mean, but the fact that
Right.
Samoa Joe is in this tournament, if it ends up being Samoa Joe versus Phoenix, the clash of styles between those two. If it ends up being Samoa Joe versus Kyle O'Reilly, the striking, the kicks, the chops that would happen in that match. Kyle O'Reilly would sell his ass off for Joe. That'd be a great match. You know, the thing that bums me out about this other side is that I felt like, and I'll spoil it, the what happened on Wednesday night really started the tournament in a way that hurt me emotionally as a fan because
Right.
we talked about Dax, but you know me, I love me some Darby. I love
You're
me some
right.
Darby. And
Let's
we're
not
gonna
talk about any of that just yet.
Oh, I want to get into it because
Or you want to go
really
straight to Darby?
let's talk about the main event. I know
All
there are
right, then
other
we'll come back
matches.
to some other segments, but let's go right
There are
into
some
Darby
oth-
because of
there are
what,
some
because
other
we're talking
matches
that.
that happened on Dynamite, right? But let's talk Owen Hart tournament, right?
Yeah, sounds good.
And I felt like this match deserves. I feel like we need to transition into this match because for those of you who stuck with me through that first segment and got to hear me cry about Dax losing, although I'm bummed out that Darby lost this match, I felt like this was a match that stole the show.
In a short amount of time.
It got people buzzing about AEW in a really good way. And I think that this show desperately, again, I was emotionally at a low for most of this episode after seeing Dax lose. And that's, even after seeing some of the cool stuff, seeing CM Punk versus John Silver, Tony Storm and Jamie Hayter match was really good, guys.
Two young stars of AEW, Ricky Starks and Jungle Boy. I mean, the star and our guy Wardlow just decimate, which we'll talk
even
about.
Through all that, I was still bumming out because of what happened with the opener. So this main event was critical, and I think that they did hit a home run.
Reeled you back in.
Got me in the cheek, brother. Got me in the cheek. You know, although Darby lost, and I was bummed to see that, it was so incredible to see him and Jeff Hardy go at each other, dude. These guys. It was like a childhood versus current. I don't know how to describe it. I mean, this was incredible.
Well, it was like total childhood, and then like, as fans, as adults, how much of a fan we are of AEW. We're seeing like a Jeff Hardy Jr. and Darby, and the fact that they did what they did in the short amount of time in the main event. Like, obviously, we want more, but the what they put themselves through in this match was incredible. It was the way Darby started. That's the side of Darby that I love. Is he started 100 miles per hour as soon before the bell and went at it and just went boom, 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 boom. Like all of Darby's matches should be kind of like no holds barred. I mean, like no DQs and all that. But that is the side of the Darby that is so fun to watch and
just willing to put himself through anything.
I mean, I don't necessarily need to see someone dive off a 20-foot ladder on eight steel chairs. It's cool, and it's amazing that someone is willing to risk that for their passion and their love and for the business. Right. It's very painful, and it's stuff that I wouldn't never think of or think someone would physically, a human body would do, and our Darby does it time and time and time again.
He's the finish, unbelievable. He's unbelievable. I mean, this is an image. I mean, like let's take a second, right? Like, it's really quick to rush through certain stuff, but like the fact to jump off a ladder, I mean, when you saw the way that he landed on some of those chairs, dude, there's no way of making that feel good. There's no crash pad. There's no way of making that feel okay. And to me, like that's one of the things I admire about Darby. We are a lot about here. I've always argued with you about Darby, and I'll say it again. We are all about heart. We're all about heart. We're all about passion. We're all about that fire.
You're right.
And dude, there's no denying, like, Darby is such an underdog, but that dude is willing to literally go through anything for our entertainment. At the end of the day, it's for our entertainment as fans. And like, I have so much respect for that guy. I think he's unbelievable. It's cool to see Jeff Hardy have respect for Darby too. this is kind of one of those moments too that felt like maybe the passing of the torch. Even though Darby lost this match, you know, he leaves with his head up high, knowing like for anybody who wanted to see Darby versus Jeff Hardy and all the things that you could dream up and how cool that would be, he lived up to those expectations and then some. He crushed it. I mean, in a main event, and we've talked about this too, dude. Back when Darby's TNT title run, main event Darby, like when given the chance to be in the main event, Darby delivers, dude. The guy,
you're right,
and maybe he's better in small doses because it's so impactful when he does something like this. You can't have a guy jumping off a 20-foot ladder through chairs every week, or he literally will be handicapped. And to Jim Cornette's point, Jim Cornette's a big critic of this in AEW, and I have to, at least to his point, you can't have somebody doing this type of stuff all the time, right? Like, you have to be able to allow it to breathe. And this match, like, these guys set the bar really high when it comes to what you're willing to do to win. And I think Darby, again, let the kid breathe a little bit, let him have a little time. No wonder why he was our top performer. I'm glad to see that he's getting the love he deserves. Obviously, Jeff Hardy, a legend in his own right.
You're right.
But these are the types of performances in a young man's career, a young guy who you can identify as that's a match that will push Darby to another level, right? That this is a match that will get people to look at him in a different way and to see, wow, like those comparisons of him being this generation's Jeff Hardy, a lot of legitimacy to them. And that's a really beautiful thing when you think about Jeff Hardy's charisma, his career, his legacy. If Darby can fill those kind of shoes, the next generation's in for a treat.
This was an incredible way to close out Dynamite. It was a painful one, and for two guys to just risk it all in such a physical way was a lot of fun to watch. Very brutal at times to watch. I mean, we were all marking out at home for sure because of just fans of these two guys and fans of wrestling, and just the creativeness that they had to offer. And so, yes, Darby lost and unfortunate, but I don't think it does him any harm in the big picture. Hopefully there is a bigger picture for him and storyline moving forward as we approach the road to Double or Nothing in 2 weeks. 2 weeks from today is Double or Nothing. And so fastly approaching. That being said, man, it's incredible to see. I don't think, as we shift to the next match, we're going to talk CM Punk and John Silver. I want to ask, how much money would it cost you, or would you have to get paid to take that ladder jump onto the chairs?
I would be.
Is there
scared.
An amount?
I mean, yeah, of course. There's an amount. You know me. I don't even know if I'd make it to the chairs though. I'm not the most graceful guy. I'd probably end up landing like on the ropes or something. It would be awful. I'd crotch myself on the ropes. Something hilarious.
That'd be better than the chairs,
dude. I'm telling you though, man. That again. This is just another Wednesday night for Darby to bust this out.
Free TV to literally risk walking ever again is incredible stuff, man. I don't think
we've seen it so many times though. I mean, AEW definitely they present themselves as an alternative to WWE, and there's a lot of ways, right? Like, I've seen more and more people compare them to WCW because of all the big names that have left WWE and come over to WCW and stuff like that. But there's ECW vibes in this company too,
big time.
I mean, there are some ECW vibes in this company. Like the fan base is rabid. And they have some matches that are violent, bro.
And
I
how
know
many death matches they've had.
You've cried several times.
Cutter.
Yeah. Seriously, pizza cutter. Ugh. Yeah. Gross, man. Yeah, they seriously have some crazy, they're willing to push the envelope. And I like that. It's a blend of everything. They try to get the entertainment from WWE.
The sports entertainment.
The star power that WCW like to celebrate.
Yeah.
And that hardcore wrestling fan base. I mean, they do a nice job of blending it all, man. It's wild.
It is wild, man, and I think it's some of the fastest 2 hours of wrestling that you'll get each week, and it's a lot of fun. And so is Rampage, which they always fill. But CM Punk versus our guy John Silver, Johnny
Yeah.
Hungy, always fun to watch on TV. The guy is just so full of personality and so fun. Anytime he gets a chance to shine, he blinds the world. I say that often because Silver is a lot of fun, and he can back it up in the ring with his comedy level and his in-ring set. It's so cool that he's got to go in the ring with the best in the world, CM Punk, in his hometown, AEW, doing those feel-good moments, which is really great, man. So Silver's strength, charisma, his striking is a lot of fun to watch. And so that's, one of those standout moments and standout members of the Dark Order that I love to see. But on the flip side of this, you're seeing, last week and the week before, CM Punk kind of lean into speaking of breadcrumbs, breadcrumbing the heel movement there, coming out with the Islanders jersey, the Tavares, since he left the Islanders and went to Toronto, leaning into that a little bit. He leaned into that with that promo, and then he used the buckshot lariat to finish off Silver. And then after the match, man, we got heated Hangman. So, we know what CM Punk can do as this baby face. We've, that homecoming every time coming out, starting the show and just, giving high fives and hugs and jumping in the crowd. But are we going to see a change in momentum now that Danielson is kind of going back to babyface after his amazing quick heel turn? It's needed. I feel like it is needed in that, and to get a powerful heel CM Punk. Are we going to see it? Do you think it's going to happen?
I'm beaming. I'm beaming ear to ear right
team
now.
heel.
Well, and here's the thing, right? Like, I have kind of, during my time off with DD, I've taken a hiatus, and I have listened to the other side. I've listened to Cornette talk a little bit about some stuff.
Wow.
And he brings up a point of, like, there's a difference between, like, getting a reaction and selling tickets. And like, I might see something and be like, oh, that's cool, but am I willing to pay to go see it?
Right.
And I think, CM Punk as a face, it's a lot of fun. Don't get me wrong. It's a lot of fun.
Feel good moment.
The nostalgia of seeing CM Punk is great.
Sure.
But if you want to get me hooked into what CM Punk's doing, if you want to get me, again, once the nostalgia wears off, if you want me to get invested in CM Punk, it's when he's got the ability to just speak his mind. He's not kissing ass. He's not worried about being a good guy. He's authentic. And the authentic Phil Brooks, the authentic CM Punk, is a guy who doesn't mind hurting people's feelings. He's very comfortable in throwing punches at people verbally, and you don't call yourself the best in the world if you don't have some cockiness to you, right? So I love this side. I love this side of Punk, dude. I love this side of Punk who kind of walks that line of being a heel. Again, he doesn't need to be a guy who's doing low blows. He doesn't need to be like an MJF. He's not going to be that version of a heel, but allow him. His low blow was
using the other finisher.
Exactly. Allow him to troll the fans a little bit. Allow him to kind of buy into his own hype a little bit. Allow him to cut down the champion a little bit. Maybe you see a little bit of the straight edge superstar come back out. Cowboy Hangman Adam Page wasted how much of his prime being a depressed alcoholic.
Right.
CM Punk would be the straight edge that he is, would be more than okay making those kind of shots at it. And now, is that necessary? I don't know. But I love the fact that he's starting to gain that freedom as a character to breathe, where he could say something like that, where you don't know what to expect from CM Punk, because for a long time now, since his return, we've kind of, other than that Eddie Kingston feud, which also pulled back some of the goody two-shoes CM Punk and allowed him to call out a fan favorite like Eddie Kingston and call him basically a lazy, fat slob who wasted his career.
Hog.
He called him a Motor City sweat hog, basically. That allowed Punk to to dabble in a little heel work. And dude, that's the best version of Punk, man. When he's bringing when he brings lines and he delivers them in a way that very few can.
Right.
That's the CM Punk that I'm giving my money to go see, bro. That's the CM
Right.
Punk that I want to see feud with Hangman. And quite honestly, that's the CM Punk who could beat Hangman, because the goody two-shoes Punk is not going to beat Hangman right now. Hangman has had an epic run as champ. But if
every
Punk
defense has been top notch.
I mean, this is an example of double or nothing, dude. Hangman, if he wins, immediately you're like, dude, this guy's championship reign is like ridiculous,
one of the best.
Right? It's like, this is ridiculous. He's
right.
like, the notches in his belt are gods in pro wrestling. Like this puts him on another level. But if Punk wins, it I think allows AEW to strike. They need to maybe, and again, let's be real here.
Yeah.
That 1 million viewer mark is a big deal.
You're right.
They very rarely they feel like they keep hitting that, like, and it's like they're tapping on it. Just tap it in. Just tap
one of my favorite
it
movies.
in. They need to just tap a little bit of heel CM Punk in the forefront of their show. Allow that to be the CM Punk who delivers weekly pipe bombs that hurts some people's feelings. You know, don't let him just be the guy who comes out there and is happy to be here. Hi, everyone. Good to see you. Isn't it great to sing my song? No, let him come out with some punches and some real, like, one-liners. Let him be creative and go after the AEW roster.
So real quick before we talk about the number one heel in the business, our number one fan, MJF.
Yeah.
Real quick, I know I want this to be a spoiler to our bingo cards for Double or Nothing. Who do you have winning, CM Punk or Hangman at this stage 2 weeks out? Who would you pick?
Well, I mean, I'll be honest with you. I don't see them taking the belt off Hangman anytime soon. I don't see it.
I agree with you, and I support that. I think the next heel champ has to be someone of the caliber as MJF, which CM Punk is on that level. I mean, right there, but to have MJF be a champ, like,
I agree.
He's gonna lose. Speaking of, let's just talk about the salt of the earth right here. MJF, like MJF here, contract signing with Wardlow. The stage is set for Double or Nothing. There's a couple steps you got to take first in order to get this match at Double or Nothing. Of course, MJF loves dishing out some lashes, which he did to Cody. Now he's doing to the War Pig, Wardlow, which is going to be brutal. But as you posted online, he's going to be laughing. I
hope so.
And I hope so. It's just going to literally – why would you poke the bear? Why would you poke Mr.
Exactly.
Man? Like, he already slapped him in the face, and the look on him almost like, you know, lasered through him. The look on it is incredible. So why would you poke the bear that much more with 10 lashes? You are just asking for an ass decimation. And, you know, the symphony is just going to rain echoing through the arena at Double or Nothing. It's going to be absolutely incredible. So fun to watch. But being said, you know, to piggyback on my last thought, I feel like, you know, MJF is going to be losing, I think, back-to-back pay-per-views, which is fine. I mean, as a heel, you can keep losing and still gain momentum. But ultimately, I think some kind of, you know, cocky gold around his waist would be a lot of fun side of MJF after this.
Oh, but I hope that here's the truth, right? MJF has been running his mouth a lot about his contract in AEW, and he's been getting a lot. I hope that Wardlow gives him some paid vacation after Double or Nothing. I really do. I hope that Wardlow.
No, that's a good point.
I hope that Wardlow whoops his ass so emphatically. I mean, I hope that he powerbombs him. My minimum that I said for this match was I wanted 15 powerbombs. I wanted 15.
That's going to be our tiebreaker for our bingo card is the over-under power bombs on MJF. Right there. That's the tiebreaker.
I like that a lot.
Now, we're not talking about a repeat, a three-peat, or even a four-peat. We're talking a minimum 15 power bombs. Give us a taste.
Give us a taste. Dude, I literally want that to happen. I want Wardlow to bust out 15 or more. It needs to be double digits, Wardlow. I want MJF to be in absolute pure. I mean, I want broken back type of stuff.
Bring out the stretcher. That would be awesome if they brought out the stretcher for MJF and give him that paid vacation time.
Exactly.
But someone needs to be, if you're watching, if you're at Double or Nothing and you're on the camera side, bring a sign with a number. Every powerbomb, throw up 1, throw up 2.
I like it.
3. So make a sign that at least goes up to 20 because be prepared.
I hope it gets to 20, baby. 15's my minimum, Wardlow.
Do you think?
So,
I mean,
but,
do you think
that's
this
my
is going to be a match, or do you think this is just going to be a ass whooping?
Well, okay, so with MJF, you always have to consider he's always got something up his sleeve. So
right.
I'm going to give him like just due. You got to give the devil his due. He's going to have some plan in place, but ultimately, I do think the majority of this, it should be shocking. It should be shocking. The devastation, the absolute murder that takes place in front of us, to a point where, yes, I mean, I think that Wardlow should be, and I say it tongue in cheek, but I mean this. I think that MJF should get some paid time off after this match, because let's be honest, it would play really well off the story. You could allow Wardlow to emphatically beat MJF into a position where no one has ever been able to do, and that's beat him up so bad that you force him off of TV where he can't talk anymore, which would be great. Or you could also get segments from MJF live with a neck brace on in a hospital bed, which would be gold too, right?
Well, we already saw him out of action with a paper cut on his pinky. So in last year, so
you're right. Good point. But I think MJF deserves some time off, though. Let's be real. I mean, this guy has been the most consistent performer in AEW television. Every single feud he's ever been in, every single segment he's ever been in, you know what MJF is going to deliver. The kid is incredible.
He is. I mean, you have to
allow him to have a little time to, get those creative, juices flowing. Allow him to come up with some more content. Allow us to miss him a little bit.
Sure.
I think MJF deserves it, and I think it would be perfect from a storyline perspective to allow Wardlow. Should absolutely, I mean, SPD, I'm not kidding. He should absolutely destroy MJF at Double or Nothing. It should just be a complete massacre.
There's no
and
other
then
way.
It allows Wardlow to be that guy, right? That big breakout moment that we've been waiting for. I mean, this is like, holy shit. Go ahead. I'll let you speak.
Yeah, the picture says it all. I mean,
yeah.
I don't think there's any other way that it needs to be booked. I mean, that's the perfect way. And you have him become all elite. It'd be a nice story to have Tony come out Tony Khan come out there and give him an official contract, sign him, make him all elite. Wardlow, put him on the website and all the works. Like, one of the best feel-good moments of the pay-per-view on that for sure. And so I don't necessarily think MJF needs time off. But it makes sense to, like, yes, miss him and all that. Like, the guy clearly goes one feud to the next feud to the next feud. It doesn't skip a beat, and it's must-see TV. And he's not wrong when he draws the ratings. And so that being said, maybe a month off, things like that. I love the idea of him in a hospital bed and yelling at people and still talking smack off camera and off that stuff, recovering from his injuries and all that. And so that'll give Wardlow that chance to shine. And really, I mean, you have a star built, period. If Wardlow comes in, when Wardlow comes in and just destroys MJF and has that star-making moment at the pay-per-view.
Oh, yeah, dude.
I don't know how much higher he can be pushed, because to me, he's at the top right now. And it's going to be one of the best, my most anticipated part of the pay-per-view by far. And, I got to mention real quick that Dark Side of the Ring gimmick thing before
so good.
signing was so funny. And Chris Jericho is like, wait, I don't like him. Well, whatever. Like,
I'm a CP. Yeah.
So great.
That's another example. I mean, MJF,
genius.
This whole story, dude. I mean, I can tend to get excited about a lot of stuff, but for 2 years in a row, I've picked Wardlow to be my breakout star of the year.
Yeah.
Right.
You're right.
2 years in a row, I've picked for Wardlow to be the breakout star of AEW. And so knowing that, my expectations, my hopes for this whole moment were at a sky-high level. And I have to give so much credit to everyone involved in this feud.
Yeah.
Sean Spears, MJF, Wardlow, the security guards,
Yeah.
Mark Sterling, everybody involved in this entire feud has done such an incredible job
Fantastic.
in building Wardlow up to be that guy, bro. I knew that he could be the next big thing. He could be that breakout star, the guy, a guy who you could really look at as a believable world champion and a megastar. Even at again, I said it from the get-go. Vincent Kennedy McMahon would be going crazy over the opportunity to get a Wardlow on his roster.
Mm-hmm.
But there's one thing to have that potential, but when you start to build that person up, dude, it's very important that that build is executed well, because it can fall flat and it could have been a dud. And I'll be honest, we've talked about this. When Britt Baker's world championship reign happened, there was a lot of moments where you're like, man, Britt is the real deal. We know she's a star. Why is this title reign not feeling like it's a big deal? Why is this title reign not hitting? And if it was hitting, it could have taken Britt to a whole nother level, bro. I mean, Britt's a huge star. She's irreplaceable in AEW. But you know what I mean.
You're right.
Wardlow, this breakout of Wardlow, it's going perfectly. I mean, Sean Spears is hilarious. He's playing such a pivotal role in this. MJF, we hate the guy, but you love the guy too, and he's so good at what he does. And Wardlow is playing this to perfection. He's got that cool, calm cockiness to him in those moments when he needs to, and then he unleashes mayhem when it like few can. I mean, the destruction that dude is capable of, just launching people, is so fun to watch.
Like I said before, it was like a real life video game. It was like you're playing like the biggest, baddest guy in the video game in like Street Fighter or like WCW versus NWO, and you're just like clearing ring in a Royal Rumble. Like it's a real life video game. It's fun to watch, man.
Phenomenal. This is the storyline that to me has me more hooked than anything.
And you were right. I mean, yes, CM Punk has been an advocate of this and a lot of others, but you mentioned this and you talked about this on Feud, the why not? Like, why not make this the main event? I know having the title and the gold and the world championship on the line, it won't be the main event, but this is such a main event caliber feud.
It is, dude.
That absolutely deserves it. And there's so much more we could talk about it, but we got to keep the ship sailing. Let's talk about some women. You know, Toni Storm and Jamie Hayter, in my opinion, two pivotal members of the women's division. After seeing the battle that these two went through, this was a fantastic match. You know, I've always been a fan of Jamie's strength and her, you know, like beast-like performance. Like she's constantly, you know, battling and always like literally whooping people's asses. She
knows how to bully people a little bit.
Yeah, she is a bully, and that's what I like about her. I like, you know, that was one of my biggest critics early on in the women's division of just people going through the motion. And Jamie and Toni both do not do that.
They don't do that.
It was a physical match for sure. It was a great, you know, back and forth nonstop. You know, Toni Storm had a lot of there are two tornado DDTs that were back to back that I absolutely loved against Jamie. And you know, this could have gone both ways. Yes, I understand Toni, and we all picked Toni as well. But you know, Jamie Hayter deserves a push in her amongst herself, because I think, you know, she's a star, and her return to AEW, we've seen her take a handful of L's, but she's still growing in, I think, popularity, and I think, you know, she is better than most of the roster currently in the women's division. So these two women, this could have been a finals match as well. You know, how often do we get those first round matches that we're like, dang, they're going to be better than the finals matches? Probably. Like we had that last women's tournament, that first round, I can't remember who it was. Was it Sheeta and Deeb? Yeah. We're in the first round. We're like, this is the tournament right here. And then as the tournament progressed, like, unfortunately, that match at the bar so high, that was the one we all remembered.
We all remember the most,
Yeah, this is one of those I think is going to be one of the top matches. It all, also depends in the wild card. If DMD does get past the first round, DMD Tony Storm, I think is going to be a great match as
Be a
well.
hell of a match,
But
dude.
that should have been another finals. They should have set the brackets where that should have been the finals if they were building that feud. But
Well, that's the
all in
thing
all,
here. That's the
great
thing
women's
here is
match.
I feel like this tournament feels like a lot of matchups could feel like the finals, dude.
You're right.
And I think that, as I talked about earlier in the show, the men's side of the Owen Hart tournament, it kind of left me feeling bummed out a little at moments. I felt like the women's side nailed it. I think Tony Storm and Jamie Hayter had an incredible, a lot of mat-based wrestling, grinding each other down. You could feel like they were both feeling each other out. A lot of it felt natural, the struggle, the tug of war between two strong women who, have Tony has a ton of momentum going in her direction, and Jamie Hayter really has been somebody who we've talked at length about as kind of has that grinder, that bully mentality, that step, as you said very well, SPD, separates her from a lot of the pack in the division, makes her feel like a bona fide fighter rather than somebody who's just kind of going through the motions. Jamie's got that toughness to her that I like.
Right.
And on Rampage, we got to see Ruby Soho, really somebody who I felt like with this pairing with Tony Storm, I think is starting to kind of shake a little bit of the beginning jitters that I felt like she maybe struggled with.
Okay.
I think she's hitting her stride a little with this Tony Storm
confidence in her.
Yeah, I think
even though she's a seasoned vet, I feel like I can see that. I could see the confidence
it's
between the
bringing
ropes.
out the best out of her a little bit.
Yeah.
And that's why in my tournament, I predicted Tony versus Ruby to go head to head in the finals because I felt like it's kind of they both have this. They've been on the same team pushing back against Hayter and DMD.
Yeah.
And I think elevating each other a little bit. And I like what those two could do in the ring together. I felt like Ruby had a great match on Rampage. And I think that, again, a veteran going toe-to-toe with Tony would be a great setup. That said, focusing on this match, dude, this side of the tournament, I think, is really exciting because it doesn't have sort of the –
You're right.
It doesn't have that obviously, I think we were all bummed. Bonds, more than any of us, was bummed that Sheeta was taken out of the tournament on the other side. Statlander is a great replacement going against Red Velvet. That's going to be a fun little matchup. And no matter who comes out of that one going against Ruby could be cool, but imagine Ruby going against Chris Statlander, star power on that side versus DMD and Tony Storm on the other side. SPD.
That's a great Final
Four. That's a lot of star power in the Final Four. If that ends up happening, it could end up being I think that the women's tournament could end up being something that could be sneaky good.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that like a lot of attention's on the men's. You got Samoa Joe coming into that tournament. Jeff Hardy in that Derby match was incredible. Our hearts were so invested in Dax. There's so much stuff in that men's tournament that, wow, all eyes on that. But I think that the women's tournament could be the one that is sneaky, the one that has the best long-term memory about it. I think that these women really tore it up in the first round. Yeah,
you're a good point. And it goes to say, I know as we're going to shift into Rampage as well, but you look at the men's tournament, you have O'Reilly, tag team, Phoenix, tag team guy, Jeff Hardy, tag team guy, Dax, tag team guy. So half of the tournament was tag team specialists. That just goes to show how much confidence there is in those guys in the tag teams who shine so good in the tag team. When in a roster that's so deep, it's kind of surprising that I just thought of this and, thinking of how many tag team specialists were in it as singles competitors.
Well, and let's be real here. Our main event on Rampage featured former first ever AEW tag team champions now as single stars. I mean, it's obvious that AEW likes to do a lot of dabbling, right? They like to take guys who are single stars, put them into tag teams, like what we're seeing with the BCC, right? We're seeing Jon Moxley and Bryan Danielson, guys who were incredibly over single stars being paired up as a tag team. We got to see it in this opening match of Rampage, where you get to see my guy, the Bastard, come together with Penta and Phoenix to bring back the Death Triangle in full health, baby.
Oh man,
It doesn't get
that's a
better.
whole nother
The Death
show is just to
Triangle.
talk trios wrestling and fantasy book
Love
that.
the Death Triangle, baby.
Yeah, so I mean, real quick, a healthy death triangle is one that could not be stopped. But we
Dude.
talked about tag teams and people breaking up and being singles, but talk about groups forming. This was one of our highlights that we have to talk about because we are big Gun Club fans, we are big Acclaim fans, and everybody loves the Acclaim. Everyone likes the Scissor, time and time again, the Gun Club deliver promos that are so impactful. Yes, they talk about maximizing their seconds, maximizing their minutes on camera time. The Gun Club do it time and time again.
Yes,
and
sir.
This was another one of those. They're pairing up with the Acclaimed is going to be some of the most must-see TV that we're going to get, whether it be on Dynamite, Rampage, Elevation, or Dark, or anywhere on social media. This was hilarious. And, as soon as they gave him the gift of the scissors, I knew if they were going to accept that and go all in with it, it was just going to be talk about 4 personalities that are just going to uplift each other. Oh my gosh. I get 2 words for you. No.
I also secretly
listen.
love that. I actually secretly love that too, is like Austin and Colton come up with ideas and their dad completely shuts them down. And they end up just taking all the ideas from the Acclaim. Like the catchphrase of the group is "Yo, listen," which is the Acclaims. Their hand signal is the scissors, which is the Acclaimed. I hope that they just continue off of this. Like the Acclaimed are the cool, non-nerdy version of the Ass Boys.
Yeah.
I love their dynamic together. I was literally cracking up watching this. That I love both these guys in these groups independently. I think that the Gun Club, they kind of have that soft spot in my heart, like I will always have for QT Marshall and the Factory. I just sometimes love these like kind of lower end heel groups that just never stop trying to get over and make the most out of their minutes, like you always talk about. And I feel like there are very few acts in all of AEW that does that as well as the Gun Club. I feel like the Gun Club, they absolutely are committed 110% to every segment that they do. Everything that they do, you can tell they're going to do. They're giving you everything that they have to make it entertaining and to make it work. And usually that's why it delivers. This stuff was absolutely hilarious. The Acclaimed are incredibly creative guys. They're so funny. I just think that the natural charisma, the creativity, the humor that both these groups have, and something we both love, not only are they hilarious, but they can back it up. And they've been presented in a way that they can back it up. Gotten opportunities at the tag team titles. I love that feud with Jurassic Express that the Gun Club had, where they were beating up those
one
guys
at a time.
on stage. And we've seen the Acclaimed more than once really shine and given opportunities to show their chops in the ring. I know obviously all the attention goes to Platinum Max's incredible raps before his matches. And their incredible theme song. The siren goes off, that they're coming out. But you've been preaching it for a long, long time. You're actually a big Bowens fan too. And the creativity of the Acclaim doesn't just stop at the rhymes. Bowens is a dude who's always trying to get creative in the ring, always mix up his moveset, always bring in new things to keep things fresh. I really dig this pairing, SPD. And I know it seems weird, but with Jurassic Express kind of having an odd title reign, I'm not going to say it's a bad one, but it's definitely odd, right?
I agree.
Compared to what we've been used to seeing in AEW. There's no reason that these guys shouldn't immediately get put into a big program. I get it that they're going to fight on Elevation and they're excited about it. But I really feel like these guys could get, why not have the Acclaimed win the tag titles? Why not? I look at the landscape of the tag division and I say, okay, the Bucks.
Change it.
The Bucks are clearly tied up with the Hardys, right? FTR, it would be a cool story if FTR became the AEW Tag Team Champions and then they could have all the gold, right?
Mhm.
But assuming they don't go down that path, really, what tag teams? I mean, Powerhouse Hobbs and Ricky Starks,
I would love to see them get it.
Keith Lee and Swerve. I mean, there are definitely some teams that are emerging that are challenging for the belts, but I think there's something about me with this the entertainment value that the Acclaimed have, and I like that I like that they feel like homegrown guys. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I get it. Keith Lee and Swerve are a really cool pairing. I love that what those guys can do in the ring together, especially with Keith Lee's size and power, with
Yeah.
Swerve's creativity and athleticism. I like that. But those guys don't need, I don't know. I just feel like it would be great to acknowledge some of these before the roster gets too big where some of these acts
Yeah.
get lost in the shuffle. I'd love some of these guys to get runs, you know? I don't know.
No, I
Maybe
think
I'm just
I'm
pie
all
in the
for
sky.
like
I love AEW's old school roster.
I mean, you have the top 3 tag teams in AEW: Young Bucks, Lucha Brothers, FTR. Period.
All tied up
And
and stuff.
all 3 of them don't need the championship to be
Great.
impactful. So
Great
I'm
point.
all for those other tag teams being focused around the belt, such as,
That's
okay,
true.
if you have this triple threat that kind of was hinted for Double or Nothing, I think you do need a title change because Jurassic Express run, while they're a fun, great team, I think their run does feel kind of weird. And
Yeah.
obviously there was probably a swerve. It might have not been booked. I mean, because of the injury and all that stuff. But that being said, I feel like now's the time to reignite the belts and make them more meaningful.
Yeah.
Give them to Keith Lee and give them to Swerve.
That would be
'cause I think
huge.
that'd be
Dude.
fun.
It would be
and
huge.
then that's where the next champions are the Acclaimed. And then they naturally, yes, they're on the bubble of the heel and the baby face, and having them partner up with the Ass Boys is getting them back towards the heel side because, you know, the Ass Boys chants over and over. So let Swerve and Lee have a
I like
mini
it.
run.
Yeah.
Then ultimately the Acclaimed, you know, take the titles.
I like it.
Acclaim take the titles, move over to Team Babyface because they're going to get over with the titles, kind of like a New Age Outlaws. They're always going to do it. Then the Gun Club will be their first competitors because Gun Clubs will still be heels.
Turn on them.
There's your programming, like for the next 6 months.
Book it, baby. I
Booking
like
by
it.
SPD.
Baby. I like it, baby.
You
I
have
like
them
it.
split
Book
up.
it.
Because it's always like groups come together, then they split up,
Yes.
like hence the inner circle stuff, and hence we're gonna have that super elite. It's only a matter of time on that as well, and then hence also we'll shift into the main event. You know, hence SCU. You know, a lot of things are going on with this, man. I am so intrigued of what's going on with Scorpio Sky. I mean, you know, he got a lot of cheers for this victory over Sammy Guevara, which Sammy Guevara is quickly becoming one of the more hated people on television.
Yeah, you're right. Yes. Yeah, Sammy and Ty Conti are quickly becoming you know, like
disgusting.
You said, everyone's they're like cringeworthy at times.
I love
and
Sammy. I love his in-ring stuff, and he's doing great stuff. But yes, it's naturally like you don't want to root for him because of the stuff.
That's how we used to act when we saw you and Amanda at the beginning, and all of us used to be like, "Oh my god, this puppy dog love is disgusting."
Right.
We all felt like that. And hey, more credit to them. They do seem like they're in love, whatever, man. That's cool.
And we're all for that.
They're crushing it, right? But there is something to be said. Scorpio's kind of got this like no nonsense vibe to him, right? And I think that fans are kind of ready for a title reign with the TNT champion who like brings a little bit more credibility back to the belt. Like Sammy talking about like, you know, obviously talking about like having sex on the title and like, you know, weird like
right.
And Sammy had always felt like a lot of it was about like look at how great I am. The belt made the belt. Look at how great I am. Like it was always about him, even though he was the champ. It was about how great he is. I think Scorpio's championship reign. It feels like he wants to say, "Look at how great this belt is. Look at how great this championship is. Look at how important this championship is." Rather than Sammy always being about, "Look at how important I am. Look at how great I am." I think that there are a lot of fans who are ready to see a little bit of that. You know, the TNT title has had a weird story. Cody, and like what happened with him, and you know, hot shotting back and forth between him and Sammy a little bit. It felt like a lot of the work that Darby and Miro put into making that belt feel really important
And Brody.
established, and Brody, obviously. It felt like it was starting to slip into a territory where you're like, what's going on here? And although it's still, there's still a lot that needs to be said for Scorpio's reign, I think with what we saw on Rampage is like, all right, this is a guy who is taking this very seriously.
Yeah.
I love that Dan Lambert and All Ego are cheating, even though he doesn't want them to. I like that. I like the breadcrumbs getting planted for potential down the road with those guys.
Right.
But I feel like the AEW fan base is ready for a Scorpio Sky type of championship run where it's like, all right, I'm just going to go out there and have some badass wrestling matches.
Right.
And I'm going to prove that this belt means something, like just go out there and have like killer matches.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not necessarily about this big show about me, but about this belt meaning something. You feel what I mean?
And I know, yes. And I know you and Bonds, I would say, were kind of hesitant about the Scorpio Sky taking the gold. And
Agreed.
I said, I was on the other side. I was like, I think he's going to be a good champion. And then he lost it again. Then he won it again. But I feel like, I think we're going to see a side of him that you guys will fall in love with. And then eventually, I think the person to dethrone him would make sense would be Ethan Page. And I think Ethan Page is the person, while Scorpio Sky is going to have a great run, in my opinion, I think Ethan Page is the person who's going to revamp that title. He'll be the one that makes it that much more important, that much more impactful. With his talk about passionate promos, Ethan Page delivers some of the best promos in the company, period. And you have said it time and time again that he is one of the best signings AEW's had over the past year or so. So I think you get that split up and Ethan Page get a chance with the gold around his shoulder and waist. That is one person who needs to shine more, who deserves to shine more and will shine more and really elevate that TNT title to the next level when he gets that. So, and I know you're all for it, man, All Ego baby, and he's going to do it. And so I hope for that purpose. And I feel very confident that Scorpio Sky will give us a great title run in the time being. Where they're going with this Sammy thing, I know we still have a mixed tag team match on the books that we haven't seen yet because they promised that. And, first off, I mean, we got to talk quickly about the match, Kazarian was in Scorpio with the chemistry there. They delivered. That main event was fantastic. The back and forth stuff that they were going, the physicality and the reversals and the counters they were doing of each other. I mean, they obviously know each other's playbook and they were countering and went back and forth, and it told a great story. And I think it was a really hard-fought match and a really entertaining one as a fan to close out Rampage at an awkward, sad time. And the bigger story, I was shocked to see Ethan get that mic at the end. And so, we go to roll the credits with a passionate Page, but still his buddy Scorpio hugging him out. So there's something to there that's going to be a lot of fun. That's going to, stir it up a little bit over the next few weeks.
You nailed it, man. I mean, I think that you said that really, really well. Even down to like all the stuff about, I think that Ethan Page is going to be a big deal for this company. So I think you should clip some of that stuff for All Ego. And
I will, because we're big fans of him.
Get All Ego in there on some Insta, man, because, we really believe that guy is going to be special. And he's showing it. I mean, he's definitely another level right now. This match, though, I mean, I think that, like I said, I feel like this is going to be a template for the Scorpio Sky type of matches. I think that there's a reason why Kaz is, obviously the veteran that he is, but his style in the ring complements Scorpio really, really well. Both really smart, technical, strategic wrestlers who could mix in some high flying, right?
Yeah.
And can mix in some submissions, but really good, well-rounded performers. And I think, I would love to see Scorpio, and I'd like to see this template play out a lot. I'd like Scorpio to kind of go in as like he wants to prove that he's a fighting champion and that he's gonna defend that belt on his own. And I'd love to see Dan Lambert and All Ego kind of cheat behind his back and do some things. I'd love for that, like you said, stir things up, continue to kind of play off that dichotomy there. I like that. But I think that this is a good launching point that it was needed for Scorpio. He needed to have a main event that wasn't about a lot of flash and all this other stuff, but just was really showcased what he's good at. Because we love All Ego Ethan Page because he can go in the ring, but that dude can go on the mic, and he's got that it factor on the mic. And sometimes he feels like he overshines Scorpio for that reason. And I think, like you said, it's funny how the show finishes with Scorpio really like in the background almost is the guy who defended the title. He's almost an afterthought to All Ego and how big that guy is great on the mic. This was an opportunity to put the spotlight on what Scorpio does well. And that dude knows how to wrestle, bro. That guy, he, as far as like not making a lot of mistakes, right? Just being one of those guys who is going to go out there and deliver a good wrestling match. Scorpio is one of the top guys on the roster.
You're right.
So I think allowing him to have that showcase, this is going to be an opportunity for Scorpio subtly to show what he does well. I hope that they give more and more title opportunities like this where he's asked to fight guys of this ilk. That allow him to showcase what he does. That to me, I would love to see more of that. We're going to see a lot of opportunities. Scorpio promises to be a fighting champion. I hope that.
I hope so.
I hope that happens for our sake.
Yes, man. We're going to wrap things up for your Dynamite Download. You had a lot of great takes. It's great having you back, Crayfish. We missed you. The fans missed you. And we're going to get some great clips of this show because, man, we are both fired up in different elements and different things about that is for sure. So thank you guys for tuning in and checking out Dynamite Download episode 82 on this ages ago. On the road to Double or Nothing, 2 weeks from today, Double or Nothing. We will have our bingo cards back leading up to it as well. So a lot of fun stuff coming our way. So thank you guys so much. And you know where to follow us on social. And we'll see you guys soon. So stay tuned for episode 83 coming up next week. An epic wild card.